How you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm so excited that we're gonna get a 4 day break really soon.
Yeah. Now, do you spend any time on campus or?
I do. Right now I'm coming in the afternoons on Mondays because we started sports conditioning.
Ah,
And so in the AM, I have another colleague who does the AM, and then on Tuesday, I'm in the AM. I'm there from 8 to 4. So
yeah,
twice a week on campus, and then the rest of the time working from home at all hours of the day and night.
yeah. I can only imagine. Boy,
Yeah.
it's my heart breaks because I have a granddaughter
Oh.
who is 5 years old and went to preschool on the same campus that she's going to kindergarten at. And so last year, she saw all the things that the big girls got to do, and she was so excited for school,
Oh.
just so excited. She couldn't wait. And after the first week of remote learning, I talked to her. I said, Lila, how is school? She said, Papa, I wish every day was a weekend.
Oh.
I mean, and she was just had such a great attitude. And, start out like that is just, like I say, it's heartbreaking for me because, yeah. Well, in any event, welcome to my podcast.
Thank you. Thank you. Are you recording?
Yes, we are recording.
Okay. Okay.
Uh, and for the folks who may be listening, which essentially is probably my cousins and maybe your cousins and anybody else at this point, going for a light opening here.
Of course.
But in any event, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. So, Steve, I'm currently an assistant principal at Montgomery High School in the Sweetwater District. And this is the first year that I'm at the site. Prior to that, I was an assistant principal at Olympian High School, also in the same district. And that's where we met in our implementation of the Teen Court program. And then prior to that, I was a classroom teacher. I taught social science classes in dual language in Espanol and also bilingual. Similar program, teaching content in Spanish, world history, geography. And I actually started my career as an educator back in 2001. So it's almost going to be 20 years.
Oh, wow. Congratulations.
That I've been a teacher. I'm kind of a resident of the border in Tijuana and San Diego. I've lived on both sides. I'm bilingual. I'm biliterate. I was raised in a Spanish-speaking household. I went to school in Tijuana. I went to school in Chula Vista. I was in the Chula Vista Elementary School District. I'm proud to be a local. I'm excited to be part of my community. It's always been my goal to be of service, to the community of Chula Vista, the border community of Tijuana, San Diego, and help kids. Help kids reach their potential and find their own passion, so that they live fulfilling lives.
Well, I can attest to you being just wonderful with the kids at Olympian, which again was where we had the chance to work together. And what this thing is about, this podcast is, I'm interested in using some of the principles of restorative justice to talk to folks in the community with 4 goals in mind. One is civil discourse. Second is community building, racial justice, and criminal justice reform. And I'd just be curious to, hear your thoughts. Well, we worked about a year and a half together, I think, and
I was looking back at.
Yeah,
I was gonna.
Go ahead.
I know, it's so awkward. I was looking back at my emails, and the first communication about Teen Court at Olympian was in November 2017. So over 3 years ago.
That was over 3 years ago. Wow.
Yeah.
How time flies. But in any event, from my perspective, in large measure, thanks to you and to Viana Rodriguez, who is one of my favorite teachers of all time. She is, just wonderful, and had an existing restorative program, peer mediation, that just fit like a glove with the Teen Court program. So what is your impression of Teen Court on campus?
Well, I am so grateful that we were selected by the district. I don't know exactly how it happened, but we became a pilot site, and we began talking about Teen Court, back in 2017, 18. And since then, the program has grown. I think it's been a tremendous benefit to the peer mediator students that participated, that volunteered their time to attend trainings with you and at the district, and spend hours after school learning the procedures and the vision and the skills that are needed to elicit student responses and to promote engagement. So it was definitely beneficial for them. And I also saw a tremendous benefit for any student that was willing to participate in Teen Court as a restorative justice option. They changed their lives, and I can attest to that, because I saw drastic changes in behavior, in attitude, among many of the students that were referred to the program. So it's been a blessing for the community at Olympian.
Well, I certainly had that impression, but I've been in and worked with many different high schools, and the culture on campus at the point of beginning is a big indicator as to how you can project acceptance of the program and the potential benefits. And certainly when I walked onto the Olympian campus, I could tell that it was a good restorative place. You could tell by the signs on the wall, could tell by, when students meet a stranger on campus, straight in the eye with a smile and, "Can I help you, sir?" I mean, if that's not a giveaway that the kids are being educated in a holistic and positive way. And so in answer to your question, I didn't know that you were unaware of how we selected Olympian as the first place that we went to. And that was because we had administration that was receptive, which is a key to a successful program. And you had Viana with exceptional peer mediation program. And obviously, from my perspective, I wanted to go, after asking a whole lot of questions to a whole lot of people at the administrative offices to the district, to the place where we would be most likely to succeed. And all of the indicators turned out to be, right, and it was the right spot. Is there any objective data or even anecdotal information that you might have that would, point out success or shortcomings of the program?
Yes, as a matter of fact, when we spoke last week, I went back through my files, and I actually found a presentation that I delivered to the Culture, Climate, and Safety Committee back in 1819. The 1819 academic year was the first full year of implementation of the program. And I'd like to give some context. So teen court was one piece in our attempt as a campus to really embrace restorative practices and build community with parents and students. And so the Culture, Climate, and Safety Committee was there's always been a safety committee, but the prior focus was on the drills and just making sure that we met the guidelines, and it really transformed into how do we make sure students feel safe, welcome, and supported, right? And embracing also social emotional learning. So back in 1819, at the end of the year, I did deliver a presentation and just an update where we saw significant reduction in suspensions in 1819. And although there were only 13 teen court referrals, what my understanding of what happened is that for every student that opted to participate in teen court instead of going to Saturday school, or in some cases even being suspended, that student shared, whether inadvertently or purposely, to their friends, to other students. The word got out. The word got out that Olympian was changing the way that we were dealing with discipline and behavior. And I think that, and as a result, the suspensions went significantly down. So although it was only 13 referrals, it doesn't sound like much. I think the impact was exponential, right? For every kid sharing their experience with two of their best buddies, and it just trickled down all over campus. So that was for 1819. Now for 1920, unfortunately, our year got cut short, but we had our first teen court in September 12th. So a little over a month into school for the 2019 year, we had a student that came in, and then every month we would have either one or two cases, right? Just depending on the calendar for that month. And remember, Ms. Rodriguez, who was our lead in the peer mediation, was doing this voluntarily, right? She was spending a lot of time on her own, besides the actual teen court trial of preparing students. So, I'm so grateful to her. And despite the challenges and despite the limits of time, we were able to get, I believe, nine referrals, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And we dealt with issues. The biggest issue last year was vape. That was tobacco vape, right? That students were bringing on campus, and they were getting caught up in different ways. But that was a repeat issue. There were also some physical, pushing, hitting, assault type of activities, and it was amazing, right? The people that participated, that embraced teen court, these 9 kids, I definitely can say that the vast majority of them, there was, when you work at a high school, you get to see the students transform, right? From 9th to 12th grade, they become mature. It's amazing. It's one of the reasons why I remain so passionate, almost 20 years later. But to see that change in a student in the same year, in a matter of months, it's just so impactful, right? To see a a student who had very little social interaction with other people on campus, right? Very isolated, to participating in teen court, and just the facial expressions change. I could see and I could witness the student interacting with other students and getting their own social groupings and just these positive socialization aspects that happened. Forget about the behavior. Just I could see in this child feeling a part of, right? A part of belonging. I am Olympian, right? That's what I wanted my students to feel, that, this isn't my school, this is their school, this is your school. And to see that as a result of teen court, and I can say that with confidence, right? That before teen court, the student was isolated, was just not connected to the school. Teen court happens. The restorative practices that were suggested had to encourage the student to meet with a peer mediator on a regular basis, to reach out to their counselor, and there were some other suggestions, and just see this transformation. So just amazing, Steve.
Yeah, it really is, because especially, early intervention, we know from data all over the country and literally all over the world, that when you take, when you opt to move away from a punitive system to a restorative system, the benefits are, like you say, exponential. When we approach it in a restorative way, we're saying, instead of, well, he violated the rules, what price is he going to pay? I'm going to suspend him for 2 days or 3 days, or, throw the book away. Instead of doing that, we say, okay, well, we've got a problem. How can we solve it? And they come up with the kids are just so wonderful. I remember one of the first cases, and to some degree, we have to be careful because of confidentiality reasons. I'm not going to use the sex or the name, but we had a student who, had been dealt a rough hand. He was, living on his sister's couch. It was his third school in 2 years. He was really trying hard. A good kid who just looked like he was beaten down, and he got in trouble, not really because he intentionally did anything wrong. I'll not talk about the, specific violation, but because he didn't understand the rules in a new school. He did something that he really thought was okay, and it wasn't. And so the kids go into their deliberation, and the first thing one of the student jurors said was, we really didn't do a very good job welcoming this student. We really didn't do a good job of explaining what can happen on campus. Another student juror pulls out her calendar, and he says, I think we should order him to meet me at the flagpole for lunch tomorrow. Wow. And I'm going to take him around, introduce him to my friends, and tell him what clubs I'm involved with, and take him to the teacher advisors for the various clubs. And all of a sudden, I'm seeing everybody on that jury reach for their calendars, pull them out, say, geez, that's a great idea. I'll take Thursday. I'll take Friday. I'll take Monday. So 12 days, his order was to meet a different individual juror at the flagpole for lunch. Yeah. Okay. The next time, when this kid walked into teen court, he, shoulders down, looking at the ground, like a dead facial expression. The next time I saw him on campus was like probably a couple of months later, and he's walking down the aisle with a couple of guys, and they're laughing, and he sees me and he smiles and he waves his hand. He was in 2 months. You could just tell by looking at him, a different kid. Just, it makes you feel so good. So, one of the things that we're trying to do is build community. So we're having a bunch of people, I suspect a whole lot of them, because of my ties, will be old farts like me, who, probably still have some gas in the tank. And, but they got no place to go. So we have this, and I am certain, how do you build community? Well, I think candidly, we're so screwed up on so many levels that, it's really a time for all hands on deck. So I'm thinking of you're at Montgomery now, how could somebody who is interested contribute to their community by doing volunteer work at Montgomery? I mean, what kinds of things are available to individuals on the outside that could be helpful? And it doesn't have to be teen court. That's mostly for lawyers. And to their credit, the Bar Association has been just remarkable in terms of resources that they come up with. We have, attorney judges that participate in teen court, never had a problem getting volunteers. We have speakers come in. There's some internships that have arisen out of it. But what can somebody do at Montgomery, which you think would be helpful in contributing?
So, yeah. First, I think it's so important for any school to be supported by members of the community that want to volunteer, whether it be their experience, their particular skill or career. I think it just makes the community stronger at a school when people are willing to come in, and most importantly, that the school itself is open to receive that support, right? So it has to go both ways. You have to have a school that's willing to embrace all the blessings that people are willing to give, right? Yeah. And not only that, but have the creativity and the insight to find matches, right? To find, okay, well, this person has this set of skills and insight and career experience, they would best be suited for this particular task or project or community event, right? So, just thinking offhand, obviously this would require a more in-depth conversation with some of the people that you're connected to, Steve. I see, obviously, to just start, right? We have the whole CTE component, career technical education at Montgomery, and I oversee CTE, and I'm a strong advocate. I consider myself a strong advocate for CTE education. I think it helps students become more well-rounded, but also for those that are able to complete a course sequence, right? We have pathways. It also demonstrates that a student is able to set goals and to complete them, which is a key indicator for college and career readiness, right? That you can complete this. So obviously CTE industry sectors, we have we have art, we have robotics, multimedia, legal, we have medicine, sports medicine, and we also have the arts, right? We have mariachi and folklorico and all of these types. So one thing that is already happening to a limited degree is just people willing to come and virtually share their experience with students, be invited by one of our CTE teachers to present 5, 10, 15 minutes, do a little Q&A about their experience. Some of the people that have already come are retired. Some of them are active, right, in whatever industry they're in. And so that's a very simple way. And that's just, right now, just thinking off the top of my head, I could definitely see people that want to volunteer come and just simply share who they are and what they did and give their experience and strength to students that are considering exploring different career options. But also, I also see opportunities with assisting in different types of events. Now, we're in a virtual setting right now, so a lot of the things are limited, but I'm very open and willing to have a more in-depth conversation as we consider reopening stages and specifically, looking at who wants to volunteer. I'm very willing and open to collaborate and find ways that you can be of service to Montgomery.
That is, yeah. I mean, I really think that the key to education, successful education, is a combination of the school and teachers, parents, and the community. I was amazed. I sort of fell into this. I was volunteering, and one day, the CTE rep I was at San Diego Unified at Crawford High School, comes in and asks me if I'd like to teach full time. I looked at him like I thought he was crazy because, well, in any event, I ended up doing it we started this law academy, and I was going to do it for a couple of years to get it off the ground. And they basically shoved me out after 8 years. I didn't, at 8 years, it was time for me to go because of a bad back. I mean, I just physically was having issues, but for the back, I would probably, or hopefully still be there. I saw successful just contributions, and like you need the teachers to like math, have some accountants or actuaries. I've had them come into our academy to talk, how numbers come to life. My son is a lawyer who's turned into a money manager and a professional poker player.
Wow.
Throughout his educational experience, the only arguments we had was over math. He kept telling me, I'm not going to use this. I hate it. And he was a wonderful student. God love him. He ended up with a scholarship to USD Law School and going through the University of Michigan. And all of a sudden, every moment of his life is dealing with numbers. So the one thing, I never had problem with any other subject. Science, social science, history, math was a problem. And what is his living dependent on now? Mathematical analysis.
Wow.
And so I would always have him come to our math classes and basically tell his story. So talking to a class, when the world gets right again, we did job shadows, always, a good thing. We tried to get internships. We'd get industry people especially if you do any project-based learning, or you know got a big project in a class, and have somebody from the industry consulting on the project, and especially with the CTE, because you look for real projects with real companies to get an experience that is actually related to real life. And there's mentorships. I mean, do you have a mentorship program at Montgomery?
So right now, all of those programs are kind of on hold. Yeah. So we need to revisit that. Steve, I hate to bring this up, but I do have, I only have about 5 more minutes.
Oh no, and as well, I just say I got you for 30 minutes, and we've already been on the horn here for 31. So I've already taken a minute more of your time than I promised.
That's okay. This is an important topic, and I hope that anybody listening really takes to heart that as an assistant principal at Montgomery, I'm willing to partner with the community. You want to come down and be of service, you're gonna find open and willing partnership here.
Well, I certainly hope we can get a teen court going at Montgomery once the dust settles here. I mean, it's sort of tough to do it virtually. I mean, actually, you should watch next week. I'm talking to a guy by the name of Scott Peterson, who's the executive director of an organization called Global Youth Justice. Nobody knows more in the world than Scott does about teen courts. His organization monitors, supports, or helps create over 1,800 courts in the United States and on 5 continents. He's going to be talking about issues that I'm sure you would find interesting. So I'll send you a little note when we get him on tape. And I hope once you guys get back, maybe we can talk again, and we might be able to get some folks in the community to get involved by helping good old Montgomery High School.
Yes, we would love that.
And I really, you're one of the people I really, you're always so positive and you're so good with the kids. You're one of the people that I really miss, having a professional relationship with. You're a great guy, and I thank you for your time, and maybe we'll do it again sometime when this damn virus is left.
Oh my gosh. Yes, Stephen, I feel the same way about you. I think it's been a pleasure and a really strong partnership that we've been able to build, and the work that we've done along with Ms. Rodriguez and others at Olympian that were involved in the process. I think we've been able to make a real positive change, and I look forward to continuing that at Montgomery. I hope we can make that happen.
Well, there's once everybody's in school, I think there's a good chance we can. But let's just all stay healthy and see you on the other side.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mark. I really appreciate it.
You're
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving to you and your family.
Yeah, historical context. It's the day before Thanksgiving in the year 2020. Ooh. Somebody born in the 40s, that's a big number. Okay.
That's a big number.
Take care.
Okay. Bye-bye, Stephen.
Bye-bye.